The bishop sleeve is a full-length sleeve that looks billowy due to being gathered at the wrist and finished with a band. This video will take you through the sewing process. Let's look at the difference between a traditional sleeve pattern compared to a bishop one. You can see with the regular sleeve it tapers inward while the bishop sleeve flares out. The pattern consists of two parts, the sleeve and the sleeve band. Make sure to cut this out in your fabric pieces. Also transfer any pattern marks to your fabric. We want the band stabilized, so attach interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric band piece. I'm using fusible interfacing. Like with a traditional insert sleeve, do 2 rows of basting stitches at the sleeve cap between the notches. This will help ease the cap into the armhole. Do the longest stitch length and no back stitching. At the bottom of the sleeve, do another 2 rows of basting stitches. In my case, I'm doing it between the 2 marks from my pattern. I'm going to do mine at the 3/8 inch and 1/2 inch seam allowance. Gently pull the basting stitches at the bottom of the sleeve. Gather until the small marks on the bottom of the sleeve can line up with the marks on the sleeve band. In other words, they're the same length. When done, tie the excess thread length into a knot to hold. Fold the sleeve matching the long straight edge of the underarm seam together wrong side out. Pin and sew a seam at the standard seam allowance. Once sewn, press the seam open. Fold the sleeve band in half lengthwise. This is also wrong side out. Pin and stitch the short ends at the standard seam allowance. Turn the band right side out and press. Pin it to keep the remaining raw edges lined up. Turn the sleeve right side out. At the bottom of the sleeve, pin the sleeve band, matching up the raw edges and the marks together. The finished edge of the sleeve band should line up with the sleeve underarm seam. When everything is pinned, sew a 5/8 inch seam allowance and then stitch again at the 1/2 inch line to reinforce the area. Trim off the extra seam allowance fabric. If you want to finish this edge with an overcast type stitch, you can in order to make it nicer. Pull the sleeve band outward and the bottom of the sleeve is now finished. If you want to add a button and button loop at the band's edge to make it look more finished, you can. We have a thread button loop video in the description. Treat the top of the sleeve as you would with a traditional inset sleeve, meaning pull the basting stitches, shrinking the cap and fitting it to the bodice armhole, matching right side to right side. Pin the 2 pieces together, match any marks, notches, and seam allowances. Then do 2 rows of stitches, one at the 5/8 inch and one at the 1/2 inch. Then your sleeve is attached to the bodice. If you need more help with this, we'll have a link in the description. The result is a beautiful full sleeve that is gathered at the cuff. This looks best in lightweight drapey fabrics. Our book, Professor Pincushion's Beginner Guide to Sewing, Garment Making for Nervous Newbies, is now available to order. Go to professorpincushion.com/books or click on the link in the description to see a list of vendors where you can purchase it.